I want to express my sincere appreciation to our partners for joining us at this timely Somalia Security Conference at the United Nations in New York today. On behalf of the federal government of Somalia, we hope that this conference will present our vision for developing our security sector and a pathway to achieving an effective transition to Somali security ownership. The conference is coming at a time of significant achievements. With the recent lifting of arms embargo, the achievement of debt relief under the HEPIC tomorrow expected, acceptance to the East African community, and the commencement of the constitutional review process initiated by key political agreements at the national level. These achievements demonstrate the commitment of Somalia to reform and state-building efforts spanning more than a decade and under 3 administrations. This signifies our strong national commitment to stay the course and deliver for our people. To this end, I brought together Somalia's political leaders under the National Consultative Council and forged a long-awaited political agreement on power sharing, fiscal federalism, judicial model, national security architecture, and electoral model that will take us to a universal coverage for the first time. The transformative political agreements are now awaiting deliberations before the Parliament prior to the adoption as a legislation. The importance of these developments is twofold. First, it solidifies the federal structure outlined in the Somali Constitution. Secondly, it formalizes Somalia's electoral process, shifting from a closed elite system to one that allows the Somali people to directly elect their representatives. This is the only way to strengthen democracy and achieve inclusive governance in Somalia. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this journey was not without setbacks. With Somalia facing numerous challenges, including violent extremism, conflict, poverty, and drought, followed by floods brought by the El Nino effect of the climate change, Somalia is among the most vulnerable nations to the climate crisis, despite making among the least contribution to the international greenhouse emissions. Climate shocks are further exacerbated by the ongoing security, which undermines the development of much-needed resilient infrastructure and livelihoods. Both climate change and terrorism are global issues, but we are disproportionately bearing their burden locally, while the global responsibility is lacking. The current situation, the El Nino situation in Somalia has come out of 4 consecutive years of drought, dryness, without rains. A lot of livestock passed away. A lot of people become IDPs. While Somalia was struggling to avert a famine, the El Nino effect come into the picture, and now more IDPs has been, displacement has took place, and the number of displaced people by the drought has increased because of the floods. More livestock died than has died in the droughts. Whatever limited infrastructure that was remaining in Somalia has been wiped out by the floods. In some parts of Somalia, even with the humanitarian support, it's very difficult to reach the people there. This is a very difficult, not only difficult, but makes it quasi impossible for the stabilization plan that the government has planned to take place in the liberated areas. That's the reality today in Somalia. The people of Somalia have endured immense hardship, yet they have shown remarkable resilience and determination in the face of adversity. This resilience is hardwired into the Somali spirit and has been boldly demonstrated, especially over the past year. Last year marked a turning point for Somalia's security as communities came together in an unprecedented manner to fight alongside the Somali National Armed Forces and liberate dozens of communities from Al-Shabaab in the central regions of the country. This would not have been possible without the support of ATMIS and other key international partners. As in all wars, there are challenges and setbacks, and this is no exception in Somalia as we fight a violent and morally bankrupt enemy. We recently suffered a few setbacks, including the attacks on our forces. As a result of our internal stock taking from these incidents, we are revising some of our military tactics and we continue the offensive. On the financial front, we have strengthened anti-money laundering and countering of financing terrorism policies, which have resulted in hundreds of Al-Shabaab-related bank accounts to be frozen. Ideologically, we have also mobilized local communities across Somalia to publicly reject Al-Shabaab and brought together religious scholars who unanimously denounced the ideology and the practices of Al-Shabaab and branded it as un-Islamic. This was a step taken towards the right direction among the Somali people, and it has cleared the Somali people the position of Al-Shabaab. The role of the Somali state is now focused on strengthening the linkage between government and the citizens. Our social contract has always been weak. This is a time to strengthen the social contract between the government of Somalia and its citizens. Accordingly, we are currently implementing over 200 stabilization activities focused on addressing urgent humanitarian needs and facilitating local level dialogues among the communities. Shabaab has always been using the tactic of divide and rule, so they have been creating conflict within the communities and the clans. When liberated, we have opened space for dialogue and reconciliation among the communities at the lowest level. Secondly, we are preparing at the state level, and at the end, maybe 2-3 years down the road, we are preparing a national social reconciliation. For example, in the coastal town of Haradere, which many of you are aware, that city, because of the past piracy in Somalia, which served as Al-Shabaab stronghold as well for more than a decade, girls and boys are going to school together. And these schools are only open right now. After more than a decade, they were closed. The primary school and the secondary school are reopened, and I'm determined to ensure that every child in every region has equal access to basic public service, including education and health. For the first time since the collapse of the state, Somalia has, and my government has, planned to recruit 10,000 teachers in the next 4 years, of which the first 3,000 has been recruited and they are under training. These teachers are going to be operated in all regions of Somalia and mostly in the liberated areas as well. By the beginning of next year, we are recruiting another 3,000 teachers, which also will be more schools are opening and more spaces for teaching children has been provided. For us, school is wherever a teacher and his students can get together, whether it is under a roof of a building, under a tent, or under the shadow of a tree. That is the most important. Ladies and gentlemen, we are cognizant, very appreciative of the fact that our success to date would have never been possible without the support of our international partners and the sacrifices made by ATMIS troops and police contributing countries. For the last 16 years, these African boys and girls were dying with us and liberating the country with us. And because of the presence of the African Union mission in Somalia, the Somali government has been given an opportunity to have space to work on, to develop and function as a state-building agenda. So it was not only liberating Al-Shabaab that ATMIS and the former AMISOM has provided to Somalia, but it has played a major role in the state building as well. ATMIS troops and police contributing countries really did good job for Somalia. Our Somali security forces and Somali people at large, they were the ones who have been gradually progressing and now are at the stage that they got the confidence to take over the responsibility of our security. In Somalia's pursuit of a peaceful and stable future, your countries have been indispensable in providing us with your time, resources, and your very lives. We honor your sacrifice, and we assure you that it will not be in vain. Together, we've accomplished much and have demonstrated that African solutions are the key to addressing our shared problems in the continent. The drawdown of ATMIS we are witnessing today is a testament to the progress we've made together in building a more stable Somalia with a stronger security apparatus working towards transitioning full security responsibilities to Somali forces. We completed phase 1 of the transition, and phase 2 will be completed in the next couple of weeks. We have taken major steps on the security sector reform agenda in Somalia, and passing of revised national security architecture in March this year, 2023, will set the path for reforms and strengthen our security institutions further. In addition, the crucial enactment of enabling security-related legal frameworks has been set, the foundations for strengthened civilian oversight, accountability, and transparency. I also welcome the historic UN Security Council decision to lift the arms embargo on Somalia after 31 years. This was a major achievement, and we are very much grateful for the United Nations in general and the United Nations Security Council in particular, who give that level of trust to Somalia. This is a milestone for Somalia, representing significant improvement in our weapons and ammunition management capacity, and it also enables us to have the capacity to equip the Somali armed forces as ATMIS forces drawdown continues. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that it's time for Somalia to take up full responsibility of its security. The achievement of this objective will not only benefit Somalia, but it will also contribute to regional and global peace and stability. In this regard, we've laid out an ambitious reform plan and goals for the security sector for the coming 6 years as 3 phases. We are cognizant for the level of efforts required, the risks that may influence the pace of reform, the resources challenges we are facing to achieve these goals. We have no illusion of how easy this will be. At the same time, we need to have this level of ambition to achieve transformational change we want in the security sector. Today, we will present our phased approach for building capable, accountable, and affordable Somali security forces. The first phase of the plan begins with immediate priorities of generating sufficient, trained, and equipped security forces to meet the demand of offensive operations and holding the territories liberated. In phase 2, is focused on building capabilities and sustaining gains, responding to evolving threats, transferring security responsibilities from the military to the police, and creating more robust system of oversight and support. Finally, the phase 3 of the plan will involve continuing to build and expand the capabilities of the security sector into a maritime and air, given Somalia's strategic location, and a greater focus on policing and justice to enhance and sustain peace. The territorial waters of Somalia are twice bigger than the land mass of Somalia. Looking after this huge maritime territory under the responsibility of Somalia is a huge challenge which Somalia alone cannot cover. That's why we put it at the back by solving all the earlier and easy ones in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, at this critical juncture, while Al-Shabaab has experienced the longest sustained pressure and strategic defeats, we need to ensure that we don't lose the momentum to eliminate the group from Somalia. We have a very clear plan to eliminate the threat of Al-Shabaab from Somalia and from the region as well. The security of our capital city has improved and now is a vibrant place with a hum of construction noises everywhere. The streets is buzzing with business activities. The diaspora are returning to help rebuild, and the hope and the aspiration of a new generation echoing across the streets. These are testaments to what investment in peace can bring. You have invested the peace in Somalia, and we are paying back those investments in the ground. Our success in the past years have shown us that the strategy of containment is no longer viable. We cannot contain Al-Shabaab in Somalia. We need to eliminate Al-Shabaab from Somalia, degrading and at the end eliminating their threat. And we must plan to defeat Al-Shabaab once for all. The Somali government has a very clear plan in defeating Al-Shabaab militarily. Now, ideologically, it may continue sometime, but we wanted to take Al-Shabaab to a level where they are not a threat anymore to Somalia and to our neighboring countries. To achieve this, it is crucial now, more than ever before, for the international community to support Somalia in building the required capabilities. We recognize that we are operating in a resource-constrained environment, but investment in Somalia, especially when viewed against the backdrop of the current significant challenges, have yielded already results. Therefore, given the Somali security sector is embarking on a new phase of its development, there must be a shift in the modalities, nature, and focus of international support toward Somalia. This will enable Somalia to play the primary role in its implementation. As such, the next phase of development should be marked by greater focus on using the country system. That will not help only the intended support for the security sector or for the development sector, but it will capacitate and develop the capacity of our public finance institutions, which are now at a level that they have gained the trust of our international partners and systems. This will build the capacity of our national institutions. I hope this conference will provide more clarity on how our international partners can continue to support our government in building an efficient, effective, and accountable Somali security forces as per the prioritized needs in the security sector development plan, which will be presented to you today. As we commence this conference among friends and partners today, we must remember the people of Somalia who yearn for peace and security for years and years. The continued strategic support from our partners, and more importantly, the strong determination of the Somali people will be the decisive factor in our future success story, which we all together experience. Let us maintain our focus on our shared aspiration, which is secure and prosperous Somalia. I thank you. Thank you.